Welcome to the Candidate Forums for the Winfield Park District, sponsored by the Wheaton League of Women Voters that includes Warrenville, West Chicago, Winfield, Wheaton, and Carroll Stream. My name is Barb Lymans, and your moderator for this evening. I do live in West Chicago, so I will not be voting for any of the candidates participating in the forums this evening. In addition to the Park District and Village Trustee forums that will be held this evening, we had hoped to have a forum for the mayoral candidates and District 34 school board candidates. Sadly, mayoral candidate Bruce and candidate Sorgetz are unable to attend due to conflicts in their schedule. The D34 school board candidates did not respond to our invitation to participate. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that neither endorses nor rejects candidates or parties for office. The League's purpose is to promote civic responsibility through the informed and active participation of citizens in government and civic discourse. Providing forums is a major mission of the League of Women Voters so the community can become better informed about the issues and to become better acquainted with the candidates running for office. The format tonight is a candidate forum, not a debate. Candidates are expected to accurately represent the facts, and their responses reflect their own views and opinions, and will refrain from commenting on the views of other candidates. The candidates have agreed to abide by the rules set forth prior to this forum, and all candidates attending tonight have signed and returned the ground rules by the deadline established. These rules specify the format, time limits, broadcasting of the forum, and other rules related to the conduct of the forum. The candidates will begin in alphabetical order with their 1-minute opening statements. They will then alternate the order in which they answer questions for 1 minute. After the question portion of the forum, each candidate will give a 1-minute closing statement. Members of the leagues will act as timers, and I will enforce the time limits. Should a candidate exceed the time limit, I will ask them to finish their sentence and move on to the next candidate. The candidates will see 30-second signal, a 15-second signal, and then stop. Okay. We have received a multitude of questions from the community in advance of tonight's forum. To ensure that questions represent a balance of topics, a panel of experienced members of the League of Women Voters have reviewed the questions submitted for appropriateness, applicable to all candidates, and to avoid duplication. We will do our best to read each question asked within the time frame allotted for tonight's forum. We are grateful to those in the community who have taken time to learn about the candidates before casting their vote by attending or watching forums. For those in attendance tonight, we ask that you listen attentively, turn off your phones and electronic devices, avoid commenting or disrupting others during the forum, and refrain from applause until the end of each forum. And finally, I just want to say how appreciative we are of the candidates who are not only willing to serve in office, but who have agreed to be here tonight to share their ideas and goals. So let us begin and get started to hear from the Winfield Park District candidates, Thomas Novak and Patty Weber. Candidate Patricia Dole did not respond to the invitation to participate in tonight's forum. So, Candidate Novak, you have 1 minute for your opening statement.
It's not a lot of time. Being on the Park District Board, this is going to be my second term if I'm elected to be on the board. And being on the board for the first time was quite a learning experience. We really served a lot of activity during it. During my first term, we completed the renovation of the East Street Park, the Chartwell Park, and most recently Founders Park right outside. In addition to that, we finished this facility and renovated the Winfield Center for the use of the community. We also researched and completed a major solar panel project for this facility, showing a savings of over $1 million by the end of the 25 years. So we worked to optimize grant monies and minimize the tax levy that the Park District serves. Finally, none of this would be possible without the excellent staff of the Winfield Park District, and a lot of credit goes to them.
Great. Candidate Weber, you have 1 minute.
Hi, my name is Patty Weber. I'm a 27-year resident of Winfield. My husband, John, and I are parents to 4 children and a grandson. After graduating from college with a degree in English, I worked in telecommunications, government, healthcare, and now in manufacturing. I've always been involved with my community, even helping my mom when I was younger when she volunteered at a food bank. During my adulthood, I volunteered with Casa of DuPage, Winfield School PTO, Winfield Junior Women's Club, teaching religious ed at St. John's, and now have the honor of supporting our local Knights of Columbus who do good things for our community, including supporting the Ronald McDonald House charities and offering college scholarships to local students. My kids grew up playing in the parks with their friends and neighbors and taking part in the many programs the Park District offered. Now my daughter's bringing our grandson to the parks. I'm running for Park District Commissioner because I believe our parks and recreational programs and facilities are more important than ever, and I want to ensure they continue to thrive. In today's digital world, people need the outlet of parks and programs for their physical and mental health.
Thank you so much. So we'll start with some questions that have been submitted, okay? So candidate Weber, we'll start with you. Okay. Currently, the Park District is in the process for updating some facilities. Do you have any ideas for adding new recreational spaces or further upgrading existing facilities?
So, not having full knowledge of everything that's going to be upgraded the next couple years or so, I've always wanted to have something more for teens, and I think they sometimes can be overlooked. I've actually, I don't know if it's realistic, but I love the idea of like a toboggan hill that can be used year-round, like the plastic slides with the burlap, and just something more for teens.
Excellent. Candidate Novak, your ideas.
Well, we're constantly reviewing the parks that we have and making sure that they're updated to the latest standards of safety and recreation. We work through several suppliers who give us the latest engineering standpoints to come up with the best things that we can for the community. And also we usually, and I should say not usually, in most cases, we reach out to the community to ask them for the things that they would like to see in the parks, including reviewing drawings of the potential parks that we're putting in, even down to choosing the colors of the equipment that we put in the parks. So we are very responsive to the community, and that's what I think our responsibility is. Great.
Candidate Novak, what do you think are the two most significant issues that are facing the Park District? And if elected, how do you plan to address those issues?
Well, financing is always a concern. We generally are very, very concerned about the balanced budget. We're also concerned about the monies that are available to us and having minimal tax effect on the residents of Winfield. We optimize grant money. In fact, for the size of Park District that we are, we really accomplished quite a bit and got millions of dollars of grant money from the state, and that's helped us quite a bit in doing the renovations of the facilities and the parks that we have.
Great. Candidate Weber?
I don't have enough knowledge to speak to that question.
So Candidate Weber then, how will you promote collegiality with your board and transparency with the community?
Those are two of probably the most important traits to have as someone that serves the public. Collegiality is something I've lived my whole life. You know, raising my children, you have to be collaborative, collegial to everyone around you. I use that skill in business all the time because that's how you get things done. And what's the other part of that?
Transparency with the community.
Transparency, of course, that is very important because people deserve to know how their tax dollars are spent and what's happening.
Great. Candidate Novak, your thoughts on that question?
Entering into my second term, I've seen quite a bit of growth in the area of collegiality within the Park District, including on the board. Again, the board is a learning curve. As soon as you get on the board, you're kind of quiet and you sit back and you listen until you become familiar with the culture of the board and then become more familiar with the people that you work with. And we have quite a team on the board right now. But more importantly, I think we've seen the development of that type of culture within the Park District and the staff that we have here. I've seen under Tom's leadership, I've seen a significant improvement in teamwork. It's no longer, it's not my job, it's now how do we get this done? So I think that's quite an accomplishment.
Great. Candidate Novak, do you support or will encourage partnerships with local schools, businesses, or nonprofits to enhance park programming?
Well, yes, actually, we do that currently. We have a relationship with Western DuPage Special Recreation Association, WEDSRA. They recently had an issue with their facility, and we opened up our facility for them, and they actually became part of this facility while their facility was being renovated after some flood damage. I'm sorry, what was...
It was basically to work with partnerships, and I would
yes.
probably include the hospital in that and other nonprofits.
We do work with WEDSRA, of course, as I mentioned, and the school districts as well. We share facilities. We have daycare type after care and before care that we do with with the school districts together, and we do use their facilities. So there is quite a bit of collaboration there. And the hospital has always been a good neighbor.
Okay. Candidate Weber.
That is extremely important. You're not only serving the public, the residents, but you are also meant to collaborate with the other governmental and community bodies to make Winfield a great place to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More specifically, someone had a question. With 4 elementary school districts in Winfield, how do you work with the different schools to encourage Winfield students to feel connected?
That's the great thing about Winfield Park District, because we do have 4 separate different school districts, and the Park District is the entity that brings all those kids together. My kids played on Winfield in action teams, and we got to know parents and kids at other schools. And so that is the beauty of the Park District.
Candidate Novak. With 4 elementary school districts in Winfield, how do you work with the different schools to encourage Winfield students to feel connected?
Well, we offer them all of the programs that we have for all the residents, not only the four different school districts, and that's where most of the people who participate in our programs come from. So there is quite a bit of collaboration between the park districts and the 4 school districts.
Great. Even working further down that path of special programs, we'll start with you, Candidate Novak. How do you plan to expand or improve programs for youth, seniors, and underserved populations?
Well, we do have quite an extensive program for youths, dance classes, exercise classes. We also have, for the seniors, we collaborate with the surrounding park districts to have programs field trips per se, that we would take the seniors to, and they're pretty popular and becoming more popular. As far as the other programs that we offer, they're available to all of the students. There was a group in the gym tonight doing some soccer practicing and playing soccer, so there is that type of collaboration.
Candidate Weber, anything to add? You talked a little bit about teens. Anything else?
No, I think the Park District is doing a great job reaching out to the whole community and the schools, and I think they're continue that path.
Okay, great. So, Candidate Weber, are there any improvements needed to enhance accessibility for people with disabilities in the community?
I don't know the answer to that yet. I'll find out when I'm on the board, and I'll learn about that and
Due course.
Yeah.
Candidate Novak.
Well, again, we do what we can to make sure that our parks are accessible to all potential residents, regardless of what their physical capabilities are. We don't make those decisions by ourselves. We depend on some professionals who are in the business to designing parks and making sure that they are totally handicapped accessible. In addition to that, as I said before, when we do come up with a potential plan or a design, we reach out to the community and we ask them for their input of what they think we should do or what we can do, or basically looking for their approval for the plan that our provider has come up with us as far as the design goes. It's a team of engineers together with designers, and we use them in almost all of the parks that we have, and the feedback from the community is very positive.
Great. So, Candidate Novak, what steps would you take to make the Park District more environmentally friendly and sustainable, perhaps?
Well, as I mentioned before, the fact that we decided to put solar panels up on this building illustrates that we are environmentally responsible. That is sustainable power. There was a debate as to whether we should lease or own. We ended up owning it, which means we own the power. So we buy it back for pennies on the dollar. And so that's one of the things that we've done. And some of the things that we've done at our parks is using materials that are environmentally friendly. We tend to be very responsible as far as that goes.
Candidate Weber.
Can you repeat the question again?
Sure. What steps would you take to make the Park District more environmentally friendly and sustainable?
I don't have an answer to that question at this time.
Okay. Look. Let's start with Candidate Weber. Can you talk more about what talents you're going to bring to the Park District office?
Number one, my desire to serve on the Park District Board and my experience in business and in the community as a whole. And just really, it's thriving, and I want to continue to see the Park District thrive. So that's it.
Okay. Candidate Novak, what specific talents do you bring to the board?
Well, having just completed or near completing my first term, as I mentioned earlier, there is a learning curve in anything that you do. In my professional career, I'm now retired, which allows me time to do this. In my professional career, thank you, I served on many boards of directors of trade associations, and some significantly bigger than the Winfield Park District Board, which tends to create a different type of culture in trying to do problem solving and things of that nature. I've learned to sit back and listen to what's going on any agenda item, and then ask the questions that haven't been answered. And so I apply that here at the Park District. I think the board currently can attest to that. Sometimes they consider me to be somewhat of a pain, but that's how we get things accomplished, and that's what I bring to the board.
Great. We do have a question from the audience. Do you see a need in the near future to go to referendum to ask the voters for a tax increase, either for operations or capital facilities? Candidate Novak, we'll start with you.
We don't see the need for that in the foreseeable future.
Okay. Is there a reason?
Well, we have the grant money available to us, and we're actually in the process of we've redone most of the parks that we have, so all of those expenditures have been done. And again, as I said, we are a relatively small park district, but we had received a significant amount of grant money from the state, and that's what we've used to do this. So, mentioned earlier, we try to be responsible, that we don't increase the tax levy, and that we use those funds that are available to us.
Great. Candidate Weber, your thoughts on Texas?
Well, I have to go with my expert here on my right, having served a term already.
It's unfair for her to get that question.
I agree with Tom at this time.
Yeah.
Great. Well, that's our last question. So the next thing we'll do is give you a minute or two to tell us why we should vote for you and why you're running for office, and give us our reasons to go to the polls on April 1st. We'll start with candidate Weber.
Well, you have to go to the polls. That's just vital. Gotta vote. The park district, the school board, the village board, it's very local control of your tax dollars. So that's the number one reason. And I would like to serve as your park district commissioner, so I hope you vote for me. Thank you.
And candidate Novak.
Okay. It's having served for my first term, and again, talk about understanding the culture of the board and the staff. You finally get to a point where you feel comfortable with that. And I think I've achieved that maybe halfway through my term. And now, hopefully going into my second term, I think it'll give me an opportunity to bring even more to the Park District and to the board as far as experiences that we've had and things that we've learned from. And I have to admit, the Park District makes very few, if no mistakes. So you have to feel that the board is very, very well put together. We do discuss a lot of things, and there's a very close relationship between the board and the staff.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, please join me in thanking the candidates for being here with us this evening. So one more thing is that our democracy thrives when all of us are engaged. Attending or watching a candidate forum is an excellent way to be empowered to join discussions on local issues and make your voice heard. We hope that each and every one of you will vote and inspire your family, friends, and neighbors to do the same. Information on how and when to vote can be found at vote411.org and the Wheaton League of Women's Voters webpage. And we would like to especially thank the Winfield Park District for hosting the event tonight for us. So thank you so much for being true community partners in this endeavor. So good luck on the campaign trail.
Thank you.
And we'll see you soon.
You're welcome.